stuff like that.
Right, I don't know what the point of... Well, hacking is a completely different thing, isn't it? Richard is not a hacker. I know a couple of the press reports have referred to him as a hacker. They get a bit confused with Gary McKinnon, but Richard is not a hacker. So that's the first thing. But so it's different, isn't it? I mean, I don't know anything about hacking, but I suppose that I might glean from things on Twitter that there are different levels and what is hacking. You know, is that breaking into somebody's system, or is that launching some sort of protest on somebody's system, or is it walking into a system that's got no protections on it anyway, no security on it? So I guess there's probably different levels of hacking, or what, I don't know what hacking really, if it covers all those different things, but you know, they are regarded as a crime, aren't they? I'm not sure if they all are a crime, but breaking into people's stuff would be, wouldn't it?
Do you think the fact that the website did not store the illegal material itself, just the links, do you think that's been emphasised enough?
I think it has mostly. One or two reports say that the website held links, or where you could download stuff. You couldn't download from his website. You could maybe download from the place where your link sent you to. So I always try and correct it if people are interviewing me, you know, because sometimes they say that, and I say no, that's not correct. It was just the links. So generally, I think it's been accurate. There's been one or two that haven't, but you know, I don't like it if they're not accurate, really, but they don't all like to have their work checked before they publish it. But I think it's better if they do try and get it accurate.
How much sponsorship did your son gain from the site?
Well, it's been widely reported. It's not a secret that, well, it wasn't it was advertising revenue, wasn't it? I think it was in dollars, so it was about £146,000 over 3 years or so. That's...
How many times was your son visited by the US authority?
He hasn't been visited by them.
And that's something that's been reported that he had been once.
No, the police called his uni accommodation, British police. They had 2 Americans with them. Right. The Americans didn't question Richard and weren't present during the questioning. I think they probably just came to identify him, because in extradition, one of the procedures they have to follow is they have to make sure they've got the right person. So, you know, they'd have a photograph off his Facebook or something like that, and they'd want to make sure it was the right person, or for him to say who he was, you know. But they didn't participate in anything or even be present at anything, no.
How much has this whole story really affected his studying at Sheffield Hallam?
Well, fortunately, when all this started, Richard, it was near the end of, it was like the end of May when we learnt about extradition. Before that, he just went and told his tutors, I think, that he'd been questioned. Then when the extradition thing happened, it was the end of May, so it was like everybody was going home, you know, from uni, but Richard was due to start a work placement because he's on a sandwich course. That was due to start in July, so I mean, I just said just go and arrange to see them and explain and see if it's okay for you to continue as planned. So he did that, and they said yeah, fine. So he's not really been at uni because he's been on this work year, but you know, this September, October, he'll be going into his final year. But he's not been charged with any crime, so there's no reason for his uni not to, you know, let him continue his studies. And they've said they will anyway, so there's no reason for them not to do, because he's not even being charged with a crime in this country. He's not been charged anywhere with a crime as such. So, but yeah, they've been supportive, but they haven't really spoken up for him. Some of the tutors have, and been really supportive and helping to get the petition signed up at uni. And we had an event in Sheffield a few weeks ago that Liberty organised, like a public event really, with some speakers, and got a lot of the students to attend and other people. David Davis came along, and and that sort of thing. But yeah, the university are kind of keeping quiet, really.
How much have Liberty helped your son?
Well, they publish about his case on their website, and I've done a couple of interviews with Shami Chakrabarti. Once we did a telly, we went on Daybreak, I think, one day months ago, and then at the Sheffield event, we just said a few words together. So, because Liberty have been fighting for this law to be changed as well as all the other campaigners.
How much has all this affected your life as a whole?
Well, it's kind of taken over, really, because when we went to the bail and Richard got told about the extradition warrant, that's it. No more information was given. Who the hell knows what extradition's for? That's meant for murderers and fugitives and terrorists who've fled the scene of a crime and ran away to another country, as far as I'm concerned. So we didn't know anything about extradition. So after that, I had to come home and start researching it for myself, which that's been going on. Well, I know all about that now, but researching about extradition law, finding other people who might be able to help, researching the copyright laws in America and in the UK, all that, it's just been loads of work, really. So I'm like on the computer all the time. And then I've got a day job, of course. Well, I had about 6 months off work at first, because it's really frightening and stressful as well, because when Richard got told about extradition, he was taken immediately to the extradition court, and I went down there as well. And so we had to wait a few hours till Richard had to go into the courtroom, and I was in there, and like loads of people were getting their extraditions rubber stamped off, mainly to Europe, like Polish people, and they were just like signing them all through, and I thought, God, this is going to be happening to Richard in a minute, just processing people through like this. So, because I didn't know anything different, because you don't have a proper lawyer or anybody at that time who knows about extradition, so really quite scary. And then I see what happens to other people as well, so, it's not a very easy thing to be fighting against.
Financially, how much has this cost so far?
I haven't really added it all up, but I mean, it's at least like we're going to London tomorrow, that's 200 quid for the train ticket. Then there'll be, while you're there, we're going to be there from 12 till about 5:30, so there'll be the tube, a cab, maybe a bite to eat. You can call it, say, 250 quid each time you go. And if you have to go and stay overnight, I mean, luckily my sister lives in London, so we can stay there if we need to. And one time we got put up in a hotel by the BBC or somebody, because they wanted us to go. But I'm lucky because I've got quite a decent job. But and so whatever it costs, I'll just pay for it. But it'll be a few £1,000s by now. Because we have had to pay for a couple of things. We had a video made for the court, and we had to pay some money for a judicial review. So I guess it's probably cost us about £4,000 by now, I'd say. I haven't added it up, but I did try and add it up one day, because I lose track of how many times we've been to London, but it will be about that by now.
Recently, George Bush, Dick Cheney, amongst others, were charged for war crimes and torture. Do you think that ruling will have any impact on your son's case?
I don't think so. Nothing's going to happen to them, is it? Nothing's going to happen to them. They're not even in... Well, I don't know. Are they all in office still? But Bush isn't, is he? But I don't know whether the others... America just won't let that happen to them. Similarly to the... I've forgotten her name. That American girl who got accused of that murder in Italy. Amanda Knox, right. She's there. The Italians are appealing against that decision. They will want her to go back to Italy to go through the appeal. America's already said they'll never let her go back there. So she is somebody charged with murder, found innocent so far, but on an appeal. But America is already saying that they won't let her go back there. So in other words, if they would refuse her extradition if Italy asked for it. So that, you know, that's just demonstrating how America looks after its own. And that's a serious crime, isn't it? Murder's a bit more serious than copyright infringement, isn't it? So that's how they are. They look after their own.
If the worst case scenario would have